Welcome to Gridiron Unfiltered, where the ultimate fandom meets the gridiron. I'm Jeff the Insider Joel Norris, alongside FD Insider and LA Chargers Gridiron Insider Caleb Rutherford. Today, we continue our division series in the NFL and ahead of the 2025 season. We look at the AFC East. We also discussed the Seahawks and Raiders trade involving Geno Smith, a wild trade, and how that's going to shape the landscape of the AFC West division. We're also going to ask a pivotal fan question that ties into our division series to kick us off, or to conclude us, but it kicks us off with the episode. Which team is most equipped to overthrow the Bills in the AFC East? All of that coming up on the Gridiron for Gridiron Unfiltered, presented by Fanday Nation. X, Instagram, YouTube, all platforms. Subscribe and follow at Fanday Nation. Caleb, what is going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Joe?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. Kind of a change of scenery. I was in Mississippi last week. Now I'm back in Illinois, so I'm kind of just, adjusting back after traveling back. But here we are on a beautiful Friday. We're ready to rock and roll and ready to talk about some AFC East and continue our division series that we talked about last week. We kicked it off with the AFC West. I did that with Matt Williams. Now we're doing the AFC East, even though you're rocking with your Chargers, but we're talking about the East because it's an important division, especially for the Buffalo Bills, but it's also full of up-and-comers like the Pats, like the Dolphins. Dolphins have kind of been there, but the Patriots are, starting up and kind of starting to rebuild a little bit, and the Jets are now starting to be in a total rebuild mode. So we're going to discuss that. Going to be interesting, and we'll kick it off now with our division series and a look at the AFC East and break down all teams. Let's kick it off with a team, for me, that has been in it a little bit, but also just, come short. And whether it's the injury bug, whether it's, something stopping them, or it's the cold weather. The Dolphins are a team that have just honestly have been either in it, have come close to being like, okay, we can make this step and take this next leap, but also due to injuries would miss the playoffs, right? They got the talent on offense, but I'm going to start with you, Caleb. What is your insight on the Dolphins and heading into this 2025 season? What do they need to change and just to kind of get over the hump, but also make it out of the AFC East in solid fashion?
Yeah, so really my thinking, you just exactly what you said. They've got to stay healthy. Tua's got to be healthy. You need to do whatever it takes to keep him healthy, whether that means he needs to wear a guardian cap or whatever that might mean. He's got to stay healthy. And Tyreek Hill's got to quit being about himself. I know that's hard to say because Tyreek Hill is very confident in himself, I guess, as he should be. He's one of the best players in the NFL. But I do think that affected them as a team last year a little bit. I know Tua was hurt for a lot of the year, but when you're sitting on the sidelines, like not wanting to play, that kind of stuff, that always hurts. I think the Dolphins are easily one of the most explosive teams in the NFL. They're so fast at running back, wide receiver. They're loaded with speed. I do think losing Javon Holland on the defensive side of the ball is going to hurt them a little bit because he was kind of their, how do I put it? He was kind of their mesh. He kept them together really well, in my opinion. But that's kind of what I think with the Dolphins. I think if they can maintain their health and keep Tyreek Hill in check and keep him about the team, I think that will push them to the playoffs again and probably be the next best team in the AFC East.
Absolutely. I think that's the pivotal question. For our sort of division series pivotal question for the AFC East, the Dolphins question for you guys listening on here is, can the Dolphins stay healthy? That's almost the pivotal question for us. And if you guys can comment down below on X, Instagram, and YouTube about this, can the Dolphins stay healthy? That's the pivotal question about this. I think that they have to stay healthy if they want to be considered to be not just in the AFC East, but in the playoff running as well. I think they got to run the ball better as well. I think that's what they need to focus on as well. I mean, Raheem Mostert's gone. They kept Devon Achane. Achane's still there. I think if they can use and work the ground more with Achane, that'd be fine. But I think what was so weird is that they threw the ball more when Tua was out. And I was like, interesting. Like, that's just quite interesting. Like, I wouldn't think that they would have done that, but they did. But now they have a backup quarterback behind Tua as an insurance policy, and it's a free agent signing, which we will recap. Slight promotion recap. The free agency recap on Wednesday's March 19th episode, which is coming up Wednesday. We'll recap that with insiders Matt and Dom. But I mean, if you look at, they signed Zach Wilson, familiar name out of the AFC West, going to the AFC East now. He's backing up Tua. So if they get hurt and they need a quarterback, Zach Wilson could be your guy for Miami. So we're going to see how that goes as an insurance policy. But I think running the ball more is good. I think losing Javon Holland was truly, like the glue was starting to unstick a little bit. They got to get some help on the defense, on the secondary, on the defense side of things for them. But I think if they can clean some stuff up and answer the pivotal question, if they can stay healthy, and that's the key right there. If they can stay healthy, that's the answer to it. Then they should be fine in the AFC East. But let's also move on to the three other teams. I mean, you have one that is in, a rebuild mode slightly, but they were in a rebuild mode last year. Now they're just adding more pieces now. That's the New England Patriots, the ultimate dynasty. Haven't been the same since, Tom Brady left, obviously, and then Belichick left, and the Gerard Mayo was a one and done. That didn't work out. Now they have, former Patriots linebacker and legend, and now former Titans head coach Mike Vrabel. He's going to be their new head coach going into 2025. Now they're really starting to build off the defensive side of the ball. The pivotal question is for the Patriots heading into the AFC East Division Series is, can Drake May get help? That's it. Can he get some help? I think that's a huge question for Drake May. Drake May is a solid quarterback, and I believe in Drake May. He just needs the receiving help, and he needs some guys to throw to. That's really about it. Who could he sign? Who could they sign? Who could they pick up in the draft? It's going to be interesting there to see. They're already picking up some good pieces on the defensive side of the ball as well. They got Milton Williams. They stole him from the Panthers and Eagles on the defensive line. You got a hybrid outside linebacker and a Mike Vrabel guy, as you said before we hit record, in Harold Landry going from the Titans to the Pats. They're building on the defensive side of the ball, but they got to get ready on the offensive side of the ball with some receivers and to help Drake May out. So that's the pivotal question there. I'll give you, let me give you, we'll take it away for your thoughts on your insight for the Patriots. But I mean, they just need help. I think it's a pivotal question for the Patriots. And we'll turn it over to you. What do you think about the Patriots heading into the AFC East?
Yeah, I actually really like the Patriots. I thought the Titans getting rid of Mike Vrabel was a huge mistake, and I think that he landed right in the spot he probably wanted to land in. And I think that was huge for the Patriots as an organization. I really like Gerard Mayo, but I still think Vrabel is an excellent head coach. And I think, like you said, they do need to help Drake May. Oh, they need an O-line. Golly bum, they need an O-line. They had Cole Strange at center half the game, or he was injured most of the season. Then when he came back, they had him at center, and he's a guard. Like, that's not good if you're having to do that right off of being off injured reserve. So I think they need an O-line. They really got to build on that in the draft, free agency, whatever it takes. They've got to build off that. And not only that, they need wide receiver help big time. I know they signed Matt Collins, and hopefully there might be some more coming pretty soon, whether that be Cooper Kupp or someone else. We'll see what happens there. But I think they need a ton of help on the offensive side of the ball, even running back depth too. I think they need some running backs. It is really nice. Vrabel got another one of his guys, Josh Dobbs, another Tennessee guy. So now they got two Tennessee backups. And that makes me wonder, too, whether they're going to get rid of Joe Milton, trade him for some more picks, because I think that would be what they need at this point. But I think they've had some huge free agency signings, and I think they're going to be a problem sooner rather than later. I really do. I know that's hard to say because Drake May's super young. It'll only be his second season. But I have a ton of faith in that guy. Like the way he plays and the heart he plays with, I think he's going to be really good for a long time. But that's my thoughts on the Patriots.
And you really don't think like that, because the way he carries himself, the way he's been training, he looks like he's been a veteran in the league. He's not. It doesn't look like he's entering his second year. So that's why I'm really confident on Drake May. A lot of people are going to say I'm not sold on Drake May, but look, he's only played half a season in his first, because he didn't start his first few games of the year. You know what I mean? He came in later, and not only that, he's a solid. He's going to start the whole season next year, obviously. But Drake May is a guy that, to me, can be the future of this Patriots organization. But he just needs the help to do it. Like you said, Matt Collins is good. Can they add more guys either in free agency, or can they, since it continues up until next week? And then can they add guys through the draft, like the Joe Milton thing? Joe Milton could get traded. So that could be an interesting take there. And if he gets traded for some more picks, maybe they can use some of those picks for running back, O-line, and receiving help for the offense. Defensive side of the things are stacking up pretty well. They just need more help on the offensive side of the ball. So that's how we look at it for the Patriots. The pivotal question, can they get Drake May help entering the 2025 season for the AFC East? That is the Patriots side of the things. And we will, you can answer and comment down below on X, Instagram, and YouTube at FanDayNation. Comment below if you have thoughts on the Patriots needing help for Drake May in the AFC East for the 2025 season. Let's move on and talk about the last two teams of the AFC East. We're going to talk about a team that, going from a team that they're in rebuild mode, but they're adding the pieces there, to a team now that's in complete rebuild mode, and that's the New York Jets. The Jets getting rid of Robert Saleh earlier in the year. They had Ulrich as their interim head coach. They got rid of him. They ended up hiring Aaron Glenn from Detroit, as he was the DC at Detroit for the Detroit Lions. Now he's the new head coach. New York Jets player, corner for the Patriots. For New York Jets player, corner for the Jets, rather. And he ended up, just coming back like another head coach, like Jim Harbaugh, played for the Chargers, now coaches for the Chargers, just like him. Aaron Glenn played for the Jets, now coaching for the Jets. He's looking to reshape everything. The first move he made was, getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Clean house on that. Then he cleaned house on a lot of other areas. Garrett Wilson was requested to trade, and then after it was kind of a like, okay, we see what you did there, Garrett Wilson kind of move here. But immediately when they announced, okay, Rodgers and Adams are gone, it's like, okay, Garrett Wilson's like, okay, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna wait it out and stay. So maybe those moves right there were like, Garrett Wilson wasn't really much on them being there at first. I mean, he was at first, but then kind of slowly but surely wasn't really much on them being there. And then now that they're gone, he's like, okay, well, we're doing that, but we're going to do the thing. So they ended up getting, in total rebuild mode, getting rid of some guys, getting rid of a lot of guys, actually, just cleaning house. They ended up now signing a familiar name that Garrett Wilson is familiar with from Ohio State, Justin Fields, former Bears quarterback and former Steelers quarterback. He went into free agency, and Aaron Glenn looks like he found his QB1 heading into the 2025 season. So under Justin Fields, under a new rejuvenated offense, I guess, the pivotal question for the Jets is, what's Aaron Glenn's foundation going to look like in his first season? How's he going to transform the New York area and the locker room and the Jets organization? How is the foundation going to be changed now that Aaron Glenn's under his first year? So in my view, before we take it off to you, I think that some moves are being made that are good, but also questionable. I think Justin Fields has got a lot to prove. I think it's risky to sign Justin Fields in a contract where $40 million, I think, was the exact contract for him. I think that is okay, but a little bit high, especially for a quarterback that has not really proven himself yet. I would have done a Sam Darnold situation and waited it out, give him a 1 year type of deal, and then let him prove himself to be, okay, I'm a legit quarterback for this organization, and then he can re-sign him to a long-term deal. But I would have done that That's just my thing on that. Some moves about the Aaron Rodgers situation, I agree in terms of getting rid of him and, for the draft's sake, right? But also at the same time, maybe for quarterback situation to evaluate everything, maybe it's good to have him there and then look at your future in next year's draft. That's what I was thinking. But it's hearsay, right? He's making some good moves. He's making some, okay, maybe we should have waited on those type of moves, but we'll see. I'll go with you now. What do you think about the Jets heading into the AFC East in 2025 season? And not only that, how Aaron Glenn, and the pivotal question, how is Aaron Glenn reshaping the foundation for the Jets in his first year?
So I watched a little bit of Aaron Glenn on Hard Knocks whenever they were with the Lions, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And, man, I became a huge fan of him. He's fiery. Him and the OC would get into it in practice. Like, I love it. I think as a whole, he'll take a huge step forward in the organization. It might take a little bit because it is, no offense to him, but it is the Jets. That's a hard place to take a step forward culture-wise. You're in New York, for that matter. It's just tough. Tough when you have that kind of organization with that kind of history. But I think if anyone has to do it, I think he could do it. I also think Justin Fields, I think he will help Breece Hall more than people think. Because I think he'll take a little bit of load off Breece Hall. Which Breece has been injured off and on, hasn't had the greatest years. And from what I've heard Justin Fields is kind of a quiet guy, but he is a great leader. He leads by example. And I really think that's kind of what they're so young. I kind of think that's what they need, is a guy that leads by example. Because they've had the vocal guys on the team. They've had Devontae Adams, like you had mentioned, and Aaron Rodgers. In a way, I kind of think they probably should have still kept Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they still re-sign him. I don't know at this point. Obviously, it would have to be for a lot less money because they signed Justin Fields for a bigger contract than I would have, too. I agree with you there completely, Joel. But I think the Jets have the offensive pieces. We were talking about how the Patriots, they need weapons. The Jets have weapons. Really, I think they probably need some more O-line help. But defensively, like they got Sauce Gardner. They still might need some more pieces there on defense too, but they've had a pretty good defense, even being as bad as they've been. And then offensively, they have some weapons. So if Aaron Glenn can change the culture there, I think they can make a huge step forward in the coming years. We'll see. Time will tell.
Absolutely. I think that you hit a nail on the head with the defense side of things. They do have some good players on defense. I mean, most notably Sauce Gardner, Quentin Williams on the defensive line. They got some key defensive pieces. They could add some more, but they're still solid on the defensive side of things in key areas. I think the O-line can be bolstered up, but not as bad as others. I think that the Jets did have a kind of a weaker O-line last year, but I think if they can bolster up their O-line, they can protect Justin Fields, that's good. Look, I am not I like Justin Fields. I 100% I am a Justin Fields guy. I thought Justin Fields was good at Ohio State. I thought he did some good things in his last year at the Bears, but they just wanted somebody else. They kept wanting somebody else. If they would have put Justin Fields with some weapons around the Chicago Bears, I think they could have been in the playoffs or in the wild card at least, because I think Justin Fields could be a good guy. Now, has he proved himself accurately to have that much money yet? I don't think he has, but that's just my assessment. I think he's good. He just needs to prove himself a tiny bit more before he gets a contract like that. He's got Garrett Wilson. He's got some guys there. I mean, he look, I think they got rid of Alan Lazard too, so they may need some more weapons on the receiving end, but Garrett Wilson, and a fired up Garrett Wilson at that, being back with his old Ohio State teammate is going to do wonders for him, I think. So we're going to see how it goes. The foundation needs to be changed there. They need to get to a more winning and fiery mindset, and I think Aaron Glenn could present that to them. So we will see, and that's the pivotal question for you guys out there. Comment down below on X, Instagram, and YouTube. Can Aaron Glenn transform the foundation at least in a more positive step and direction in year one as in the Jets and the AFC East? So now let's talk about one more, and let's go back, and then we'll conclude and go on to our next segment and our fan question. But the AFC East champions for the last, 500 years, it seems like, the Buffalo Bills. And we're going to discuss the pivotal question, and this is, Joel moment here, but can the Buffalo Bills finally get over the hump? That's the big question that everyone's going to ask, and it's been asked for the past few years. They've gotten over the hump of the AFC East. They control the AFC East. They're the champions. Can they get over the hump beyond the AFC East? That's a big question for them. I think eventually they can. It's just a matter of when. I don't know when, but I think that they can. I think they got the quarterback too. I mean, look, Josh Allen, reigning defending MVP, who just got a baseball contract, by the way. And I'm not talking about football contract. I'm talking about an MLB baseball contract. We don't even cover baseball. But guess what? He got the contract, $330 million for 6 years. Unfreaking believable. But he is a solid quarterback. He's one of the best in the league. He's top 5 in the league, no doubt. And he deserves to get paid. He's staying with the Buffalo Bills for a long time, but he does need some weapons to get over the hump. I think that losing Matt Collins kind of stinks. I think the Amari Cooper still, I don't know if Amari Cooper maybe a free agent, but they could bring him back. I don't know. He's got Keon Coleman, which is good. He's a young and up-and-coming guy. He's got Khalil Shakir still there. He just needs and he's got Dalton Kincaid, and along with Dawson Knox. He just needs a premier receiver, I think, to get him over that hump. And then they need to probably extend James Cook. I think those are some key pieces on the offense, some key pieces on the defense. They still got Milano still there. I think that Gregory Rousseau re-signing him to that big contract was good for them. He's there to stay. They released Von Miller. They can use some more edge help, I believe. But other than that, to get over the hump, I think those are some key pieces that they need. I think the defense didn't do that good against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. They got to do better in some key areas, like up in the middle at linebacker and on the edge for sure. Some more pressuring as well. I think they need to do a lot of more of that style of play calling, and be more aggressive on defense to get over that hump. But I'll stand and need some more help for Josh Allen. But I'll start with you. The pivotal question: can they get over the hump? Not just in the AFC East again, but can they also get over the hump overall? The floor is yours, Caleb.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think the Bills can get over the hump, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes, because I get tired of, even with the Chargers, it's the same way. I get tired of the games getting left in the referee's hands. Look at what the Eagles did when they played the Chiefs. They didn't leave anything in question. They just kept their foot on the gas. That's how the Bills, I think the Bills have to do it. And whether that be aggressive play calling on defense, or putting the ball in Josh Allen's hands even more on offense. I do think they need to re-sign or extend James Cook big time. I know there was like some tension there a little bit this year, something about that. And losing Matt Collins hurts. I do think they need a premier receiver as well. I think that will be one big thing that can get them over the hump. They did sign Josh Palmer from the Chargers as well. He's a very solid receiver. They signed him to a nice little contract. It was like 3 years, $36 million or something like that. And he'll be solid for him. He's a good route runner. He has pretty good hands. But I think the Bills have all the tools. They just have to put it together when it comes down to it. They just have to keep their foot on the gas in the games. Cutthroat. I mean, leave nothing in question. Is how I think they need to play. But I think they can get over that hump for sure.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much well said and done about the Bills and the rest of the AFC East. So, guys, if you want if you're a fan of any of these teams, Patriots, Dolphins, Bills, Jets, comment in the link down below. Get to the link down below in the description of this YouTube video and get your AFC East collection on with a Josh Allen jersey, Patriots sweatshirt, Dolphins sweater, a Jets sweater, whatever, or sweatshirt, whatever. Get your fandom on. Click the link below on the AFC East collection down below in this YouTube link description for Fan Day. Keep following and subscribing on all platforms at Fan Day Nation on X, Instagram, and YouTube, and as well as Spotify. So keep plugging in there. Let's move on a little bit to something a little bit more off topic, then we'll tie back in with our AFC East topic with our fan question. This is a trendy topic, and it's something that I did not see coming later during the weekend, last weekend at least. But with the Seahawks, there was some news coming around that Geno Smith and the Seahawks met quietly to extend his contract for a long-term extension. They could not come to terms on a long-term extension. Geno Smith then formally officially requested a trade. And then the trade happened. The Seattle Seahawks traded quarterback Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders in a kind of a stunning move, but also one that makes sense because of the history with Pete Carroll now as head coach there. My thoughts on it, and then I'll turn it over to you really quick. This is one of the question of what do you think about the trade and how did it shape up to the AFC West and what does it mean for the AFC West? I think it brings a little bit more of slightly more of a competition to the AFC West feel for it now that the Raiders have a quarterback where when Geno Smith's on, he is a solid player and he's a good quarterback. Do I think that they need more help besides just Brock Bowers, besides just Zamir White, Jacoby Myers, and Max Crosby on the defensive end? They need more talent. But I think with Geno Smith as QB1, it kind of bolsters everybody up because of what he did in Seattle. As his revival kind of tour in Seattle, he's like, oh, okay, maybe that Geno Smith could work in Las Vegas, and maybe he can win us enough games to get us to the wild card, maybe, and we'll see. Because they won 10 games last year in Seattle. Did they make the playoffs? No, due to winning and losing and seeding, which kind of stinks, right? But Geno Smith is proven to do something there. He's got him to the playoffs before Seattle. So can he do it with the Las Vegas Raiders with Pete Carroll? I don't know, but how does it shape up for the AFC West? It's going to bring a little bit more of a competition, but it's going to be kind of hard when you have the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. You have Sean Payton and Bo Nix with the Denver Broncos, and you also have, obviously, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs. But it's going to be kind of hard, and it's going to shake up a little bit of the AFC West, make it a little bit more competitive with some names in there. But we will see, because I think the Raiders still need some more help to build around Geno Smith. I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the trade? And then we'll move on to our fan question. How do you think it shapes up the AFC West as a whole?
I really think the AFC West might be the best division in football. And that's hard to say because you have that NFC East who's loaded as well. But, man, look at the quarterbacks. Like, you have a young up-and-coming Bo Nix, Geno Smith, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes. That's wild to me. But I think it's a perfect fit for Pete Carroll. Obviously, they're from the Seahawks. But I think that the Raiders like Jackson Dart more than people think. And that might be a topic for another day. But I think they're going to draft him in the second round and try to build him behind Geno Smith. I really think that's what the plan is for them. I agree with you completely. They definitely need more weapons. I think Brock Bowers is phenomenal. Probably the best young tight end I've seen that quickly. He's incredible. He's everything I thought Kyle Pitts was going to be. But I think it's a great fit for the Raiders. I think that will help them tremendously. That's what they've lacked for the past couple of years. But, yeah, I think that was a great fit for them.
Absolutely. I think the Jackson Dart thing's kind of interesting that you mentioned that, though. Jackson Dart, who has been linked to Seattle, to Los Angeles with the Rams, and now, Las Vegas. They have been interested in Jackson Dart as well. He could be an interesting fit for them and build up behind as the future behind Geno Smith. So that's a very interesting point there. They're still working on a long-term deal with Geno, so we'll see how that goes. But I think it's going to be an interesting fit and interesting dynamic for the AFC West heading into the 2025 season. That's our thoughts on the Geno Smith trade for the AFC West and Seattle going to Las Vegas. Guys, if you're a fan of the Seattle Seahawks, if you're a fan of the Raiders, guys, comment, go to the link down below in this YouTube description. There's Walmart, scarves, apparel for the Seattle Seahawks and Las Vegas Raiders, or the Las Vegas Seahawks is what it's turned into, I guess. That's a little of a joke there. But plug in and click the link down below, get the merchandise, get the apparel, and you can rock your Seahawks fandom and get your fandom on with the Raiders as well. Just click the link down below on this YouTube episode. Subscribe and follow on all platforms, X, Instagram, and YouTube at Fan Day Nation. Before we go to our fan question, Seahawks, just a little bit of a fair warning heading into Wednesday's episode. You guys are going to want to stick around because we're going to talk about Seattle coming up here next week. So, going to our fan question, and big thank you guys for commenting down on our last question for fan question in our communities. Not just that, in our communities on Facebook, just in our dashboards in Denver, in all of our cities. Not only that, on Instagram, YouTube, X, and YouTube Shorts. Just thank you for commenting down below and engaging in our fan questions and just engaging with us at Fan Day Nation and with Gridiron Unfiltered. It's much appreciated. We shout you guys out. We love you all. Thank you so much for engaging with us. Comment down below and keep plugging in and engaging with these fan questions because we are about to ask more and more each episode. So, for our fan question to conclude this episode of Gridiron Unfiltered, the fan question is this. Going back to our AFC East topic in our division series to conclude and round out our division series on the AFC East, which team is most equipped to overthrow the Bills in the AFC East? I'll answer, then I'll get your thoughts on it. You can think about it two ways, currently and long term. Currently, you can think the Dolphins, because the Dolphins have the most talent with Tua, when healthy. You got Tyreek Hill, who hopefully he can build up that chemistry again. And you also have Jalen Waddle. Defensive side of things, they need to get some stuff worked out. They need to run the ball better a little bit, but they got some weapons to try to make a run at it and try to overthrow them and come close. I think if you think long term, could be the Patriots again. I think Drake May, and if you could get him some help, they could be a team with Mike Vrabel that does something that hasn't been done since probably 2018, 2019. And that's make a run, I would say, at a championship, but at a run at the playoffs at least. So I think long-term could be the Patriots. Right now, it's looking more like the Dolphins. Do I think they're going to overthrow them right now? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. So I think the Bills are going to stay on top. But if I had to choose between two teams, currently Dolphins, but more long-term, New England. But that's my thoughts. I'll go with you, Caleb, and we can conclude Gridiron Unfiltered.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. I think the Dolphins are easily the short term. They have an established quarterback who's been there for a while. If he can stay healthy, like we had said earlier, I think they're the team to beat the Bills. Do I think, like you said, do I think that happens right now? Not really. But long term, I think if the Patriots continue to build what they have so far this offseason, and what they're probably going to do in the draft, I think they're the ones. I really do. I think they're the ones that could potentially overthrow the Bills. And that might be at the end of this new Josh Allen contract. So it might be a couple years, but I can definitely see it happening. And who knows? Maybe even Aaron Glenn changes the Jets' whole organization around, and maybe they're even the short-term team. With the weapons they have. Do I think so? They're probably the least likely, but there's always a chance.
Absolutely. And we don't even know. We'll always have to figure it out and see heading into the 2025 season and beyond. That was our division series on the AFC East. Heading into the 2025 season, That was our fan question about who can overthrow the Bills and which team's most equipped to overthrow the Bills in the AFC East, as well as our Raiders and Geno Smith talk for the trade from the Seahawks there. Guys, if you're hungry, because I don't know, football, this is all making me hungry, and football makes me hungry. Description down below. Burger and sausage meat for food. Get your game day on. Get your football snacking on. We're headed towards draft season, and we're in the midst of free agency. So, guys, keep on plugging in and watch Gridiron Unfiltered. Not on an empty stomach. Eat while you're watching Gridiron Unfiltered and listen to our takes on the game of football. Click the link down below in the YouTube description. Guys, there is also our insider pages. There's me and Caleb Rutherford in our insider pages. Go and click on our pages to get to know us as your Gridiron Unfiltered partner in crimes. Guys, for Gridiron Unfiltered, that's my FDN insider and partner in crime for LA Chargers Gridiron, Caleb Rutherford. I'm FDN insider Joel Norris. We're signing off. This is Gridiron Unfiltered, where the ultimate fandom meets the gridiron, presented by Fan Day Nation. So long, and we'll see you next week for more Gridiron Unfiltered.